Hello, I'm Father Joe Roesch, the Superior General of the Marian Fathers of the Immaculate Conception, and I'm here in the heart of Tuscany, where these sun-drenched hills have been home to vineyards for centuries. There's something deeply sacred about the process of making wine. The way the earth, the sun, and the hands of those who tend the vines all work together to bring forth this fruit. In Scripture, wine is a symbol of joy and divine blessing. And in the Holy Mass, it becomes something even greater, transformed into the precious blood of Christ. For more than 700 years, the Benedictine monks at Monte Oliveto Maggiore Abbey have been carrying on this sacred tradition, uniting their daily labor with prayer and praise. For these monks, every task, from prayer in the chapel to labor in the vineyard, is an act of worship. Their hands cultivate not just the fruit of the earth, but the fruit of the Spirit. I had the joy of visiting this ancient abbey, meeting the monks who live there, and speaking with Dom Benedetto Maria Vici, a Benedictine who continues this centuries-old work of cultivating both the vineyard and the soul. Let's hear what he had to say. Dom Benedetto, welcome.
Welcome to you, Father Joe.
It's good to be here at the Abbey. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of the Abbey?
Yes, of course. Our monastery was founded in 1319, so more than 700 years ago. Our first brothers came here and started with a kind of eremitic life, but then with the discover from people, and at that time it was important to take a given rule, and they choose to have the rule of Saint Benedict. Mm-hmm. So since then they started to build this monastery, and the story of the Benedictine community started. The monastery of Monte Oliveto became in a quick way a congregation, and the congregation was officially approved in 1344. And nowadays, after all the story that has passed by, our congregation is expanded also abroad, and we have monasteries in France, in Northern Ireland, in South Korea, in the United States, Guatemala and Brazil, and Israel also.
Mm-hmm. United States and Pecos, Mexico, New Mexico?
New Mexico, yes, exactly. The community is ruled by the rule of Saint Benedict. This means that everything is put under the motto ora, labora and legge. Pray, work and study. And this third term is important to be added because it's not found in the rule itself, but it gives an important aspect of the life of the Benedictines. Because if you understand easily the prayer and the work, this legge is more connected to the study of the divine word, and also in general to the study and to the deepening of the knowledge. Mm. That's because the way of life of Benedictines wants to put together all those moments in a very strict way. So the prayer moment is already clear, but also the work and the study must be filled with this connection with the spirituality and the fact that everything must be unified in this kind of life.
Yeah, whatever work we do. Now, what about the vineyard? Has that been part of the work of the Abbey from the beginning?
Yes, that's for sure, because the work that they were doing at the beginning was just this kind of work, and they wanted to be as much independent as possible for their needs, for feeding themselves. Mm-hmm. So the rules of Benedict states explicitly that monks should be happy to do the labor and manual work to wine, oil, olive oil, and bread have always been done by the monks. Yes.
So the Benedictine order has really kept the wine-making tradition alive and preserved it through the centuries.
Yes. I can also recall you, maybe you know that, but famous champagne from France, Dom Perignon. It's called like that because this was an invention of a monk who was called Perignon, Dom Perignon. So it gives you a taste of the kind of innovation that the monks were giving to their work. They are just making things deeper, and they find new ways of doing things, and they also arrive to discover new things and new way of doing wine, for example. They just invented the bubbles.
Yes. Now, are there any particular saints or historical figures connected with this abbey?
Well, of course, the first one is Saint Bernardo Tolomeo, our founder.
Yes.
And then we can, for an historical point of view, I could just tell you the story of the Emperor Charles V that came here in 1536, where he was going to Rome. And he passed here and stayed here one night. And he was so impressed from the life of the monks and also the quality of the wine that he gave us the opportunity and the permission to use the crown in our crest.
Oh.
So our crest also is crowned because of this permission that the emperor gave us.
Wow.
And the story tells also that he took away some wine because he liked it very much.
Very good.
And also we have a nice connection with the Saint Joseph because our vineyard is under his protection. We found recently also a statue of Saint Joseph that holds the baby Jesus and also grape, which is strange because usually Saint Joseph holds some souls or something like that with the carpenter work, but we found that with the grapes, so that was a sign that he must be elected as our particular protector.
That's nice. Now we're in a beautiful part of Italy called Tuscany, and why is the land and the climate of Tuscany so conducive to winemaking?
This is one of the most important regions for winemaking in Italy. Yeah? And Tuscany has a broad variety of climate and soils that give birth to different types of grapes and different wines. We can recall most famous is the Brunello of Montalcino. Montalcino is not far away from here, it's just some kilometers. And we are actually in the same microclimate of that. And indeed, one of the grapes that we are growing is the Sangiovese, which is the main grape that is used for the Brunello Montalcino.
Now there's a lot of biblical references to wine and sacramental references to wine. So how does that all tie into your work?
We are growing something that is also used in sacraments. It's very, very important. Wine, oil, wheat. These are all ingredients of the main sacraments for the Eucharistics and for the ordaining and the ointment of the sick. So it's really a good example of what we can call the incarnation law. No? The God is working with us with sacraments because He's taking part really in a deep way in our history. And He left us the sacraments because the relation with Him must not be something that it places in the heavens in a non-incarnated way. But we are just benefiting of this science that are really that can touch them. So from one side, monks are trying to work and to let the work be one place in which they also discover God. And on the other side, we are producing something that involved in the old sacramental witnesses this connection of the immediate way of living our faith. God incarnated Himself. He was working with us. He was eating with us.
Yes.
And still there in the sacraments.
That's beautiful. So the wine, do you produce wine that is used in the Mass here?
Yes, also.
So that must be very interesting to be consuming the wine at Mass and realize it was grown right here.
Yes, indeed. It deepens also the way you can participate to the Holy Sacrifice, because
That's beautiful.
You feel that you're putting something more, and you're also feeling more grateful.
Yeah,
so
beautiful.
they are
Yeah,
just
they
connecting
go
in a strict
beautiful.
way for us.
That's really nice. Now the monks themselves participate in the work in the vineyards?
Yes, the farm is directed by monks. We also have lay people, but in the moments where there's needed help and for the harvesting, all the monks that are free to give a help, they just go and
the cultivating of the
yeah.
olives. So then you mentioned earlier the ora et labora, the work and the prayer. So there's a kind of a flow of working and praying. So can you tell us a little bit about how that works?
Yeah, it works like our rule gives us the timetable for each day, clearly separated and clearly fixing the moments in which we have to pray and which we have to work. St. Benedict is a very, very strict timetable to be used in the winter time, to be used in the summertime. But then the moment of the work, as I was saying, must be really filled with this connection with the content of God. So it's an effort because it's not easy to think about God or during the work. But I would say that the term unifying is a key.
Bring everything
key word.
together. Bring things together. Well, what spiritual lessons can we learn from winemaking and working?
I always recall one special moment in the work of the fields, in the vineyard in particular, when they're starting to grow at the beginning of spring, because you want just a few of them to develop, to have a good.
Selectively.
You have to select, and this says something about our spiritual life, because sometimes we have to take away parts and let big parts
to grow more.
Sometimes we are driven by God to take away parts that we think are important, but He thinks different. So this also comes again to the idea of this detachment and this incarnation process that we have to look at, because this relationship with the living God is something that sometimes takes us in front of choices or situations that are not something that we thought about, and God obliges us to think differently. This is something that can be also seen in this process of taking away some parts.
And then what about what Jesus says about the vine and the branches? What does that mean for you?
Yeah, I was saying that this example of taking away part of the branch, but of course this also has an aspect that comes to the hierarchy of that we live in the monastery. We are under the
hierarchy.
Yeah, hierarchy. Yes, is the obedience with respect to the commands of the abbot. It's just an example of what we also have to have towards God. So again, it's something that puts you in some paths that maybe you are not wanting to walk in. But it's very important in the religious life in general. I think that you are not inventing your own style, but you're just flowing with something that comes from above.
That's right. I think God loves obedience, and we can learn from being brought to a thing that we might not have chosen ourselves. And I think what Jesus says is, without me you can do nothing, is an important lesson for everyone, monks and lay people as well.
Yes, I do.
So, can you walk us through the process of making wine, what you do here at the Abbey?
I would say we are just collecting our grapes from our vineyard in Chiusure, which is 2 kilometers above. And we do it manually and put the grapes in small buckets and put them to the wine cellar. And we immediately go on with the process of pressing and taking away the wooden parts, and just we have to be quick there, because the fermentation must not start before the wine is in the cellar. And then the wine will take different paths depending on the kind of wine we're doing. We have red wine, white wine, so there are different techniques for the different type of wine. We also have different places where the wine must go on with this process, because sometimes we use the steel barrels, sometimes we use the wooden one. We have a very special treatment for the Vinsanto, which is a very special product of Tuscany in general, but also for our abbey.
Oh, okay.
Because Vinsanto is harvested after the 8th of September, we're just harvesting the white wine grape, And 8th of September is the date of the birth of Mary, which is our main patron of the congregation. Our church is dedicated to the Virgin Mary of the 8th September. After that, we put the grapes on to dry in a dedicated place in a wine cellar. And this happens for 100 days. So after the 8th of December, which is the Immaculate Conception, we just press manually these grapes. So there's a gentle press to not to disturb the wine. And then we put them in very small 80 liters barrels and put everything in what we call vinsantaia. So it's a room below the roof in the wine cellar. After 3 years staying there with open windows, when we just have a high temperature during the summer and the low temperature in the winter, so the fermentation will start again. We taking away the wine from these small barrels on the 30th of November, which is Sant'Andrea, Sant'Andrew, but also it always comes near the beginning of the new liturgical year. And then for the 13th of December, the wine is bottled. So again, 13th of December, Saint Lucia.
St. Lucy.
St. Lucy. With all this also characteristic, the light that comes again.
Yeah,
so
light.
This.
Yeah, Lucy light.
So you see that this is a process very complicated, very traditional. So we are doing something in the flow of the tradition, and also we are just putting all of this different hints that comes from the liturgical
That's beautiful.
time.
I didn't realize that. Now, some techniques and traditions have changed or stayed the same through the years, or have been passed down.
I think that we're just taking the good evolution of winemaking in general. We are also introducing new things. Recently, we put bees in our vineyard. This is because cultivation is biological, without chemicals.
Organic.
Organic, yeah. And these are one of the best and natural certification of the healthiness of the vineyards of the fields. Because if they live there, there must be no poison, etc. They also help the grapes if some insect may cut the grape. The bees goes there and while taking the sweet, they just heal the grape. So it's good. So this is not a technical innovation, but it's something that is modern in some sense. There's a growing sensibility about that in Italy, at least.
Very interesting. Now, there's obviously, as a monk, you have silence and contemplation. How does that impact your working with the vines and the wine?
Yeah, of course, working in nature helps, and I was telling about this moment I have taken away these branches. It's just one example, but it's easy to think and calm yourself down when you're doing something smooth in the fields, and nature really helps in that.
Yes.
So.
Well, to be out exposed to nature all the time must be very renewing and invigorating to the spirit.
Yeah.
Now, who primarily enjoys the wine here? Is it sold, or is it just for the monks, or how does it work?
Both of them. Both of them. We are drinking our wine at table. Saint Benedict also fixes the quantity of wine that monks can drink. So and then, of course, we are selling it. And so here at the abbey, in the shop and in the wine cellar, there's a small selling point. And we are also trying to sell in e-commerce, and we are just have some connection with some foreign nations for export of our wine. So it's
okay, very good. And do you see winemaking as a sort of a type of evangelization, sharing God's creation with the others and with the world?
Yes, but more importantly, the fact that our wine comes with this Benedictine identity that carries this kind of importance of the 360 degree dimension of also the spiritual part. So people come here and discover also our products, and they discover that they are made not only with the usual attitude, let's say. So this is something that is perceived by people.
Yeah. Well, Don Benedetto, thank you so much for sharing your life and your work with us, and God bless you.
Okay, thank you.
The story of Monte Oliveto Maggiore Abbey reminds us that wine is more than a craft. It's a form of prayer. Every bottle carries within it centuries of devotion, discipline, and gratitude for God's creation. If you'd like to discover more of these sacred stories, I invite you to explore the book Sacred Wine, published by Marian Press. It takes you on a journey through monasteries and vineyards across Italy, France, and Spain, places where the making of wine has always been intertwined with the life of faith. From the Benedictines here in Tuscany to monks and winemakers throughout Europe, it's a reminder that what begins as the fruit of the earth can, by grace, become the blood of Christ, the very source of our salvation. Thank you for joining us, and God bless you.